Neon lights, a Nobel Prize. Then a mirror speaks, the reflection lies. You don't have to follow me. Only you can set me free. I sell the things you need to be. I'm the smiling face on your TV. I'm the cult of personality. What's up, Joe Ridgely?
That was awesome.
That obviously was from the iconic group Living Color, which is will represent our guest tonight. How's it going, Joe? What's new?
Man, everything is excellent. The Indie Escape is just blowing up. For everybody tuning in right now, please go over to the Indie Escape YouTube channel, hit that like and subscribe button, also the Facebook page, and we got those other things like Instagram and Twitter,
TikTok, and all that craziness.
And if you want to see what amazing guests we've had on, go over to our IMDb page.
Absolutely. So welcome to you, everybody. I'm your host, Brandon E. Brooks. That's man in the other box there is the man with the Indie Escape plan, Joe Ridgely. All right, so we're going to have another great show tonight. Sean Smithson's already in the house. What's up, brother? My apologies for last week. We didn't have a show, but we will definitely make that up to you very shortly with that guest, CJ Robles from my Manic Mondayz, and also our new crowdfunding show. That's amazing. Thank you for showing up, brother. So Joe, obviously we're psyched about this amazing guest tonight. I just wanted to briefly speak about something that's very important to me. So this past week, somebody was very crucial in my career, why I'm actually even here as an actor, as a performer, Mike Lemmon. Was to me a famous casting director. Was very integral in films like Philadelphia, 12 Monkeys, Blowout. He was a friend, a mentor, somebody that provided me with a lot of support when I was a stupid young actor 20 plus years ago that had no idea what I was doing in this business. And he was a friend all the way through. He always supported all of my film screenings and everything. So just wanted to give a shout out of thanks to him. Rest in power, my friend. I love you, and you'll be missed. Tim, my brother from Subsoil Films, thanks for watching. So without further ado, can we just play the video for tonight's guest, please, Mr. Ridgely?
You got it. Oh, wait a minute. I saw a picture of him with David Lee Madison. Corey, I'm going to apologize ahead of time for that.
All right. Welcome to IOU, musician, actor, and one of the coolest brothers I've met in the biz, the great Corey Glover.
Hey, folks.
What's up, Corey? Thank you for joining us.
I just got to say, from now on, when I take pictures, I'm going to close my mouth.
Thank you for joining us, brother. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, man. So just a little bit for the audience. I met Corey a couple months back at the NJ Horror Con in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We got to rap a little bit. Shout out to Chris Majors, his booking agent, for making that happen. So again, like I said, very, very cool brother that definitely I'm going to work with in different capacities coming up. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. I always start off, like I mentioned to you before the show, I always started off by asking you to tell our audience like a little bit about your upbringing, where you come from, and how was little Corey like an extrovert? It was a performer from the very beginning that people were like, yeah, he's going to end up being something like in the future.
People said that. I was basically precocious is what it was. I was trying to, I am the youngest of three kids. I'm from Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And, I am the afterthought, not literally, but my parents had two kids and wasn't thinking about having no more kids. And then 10 years later, I showed up. So I had a lot to prove because I was basically coming up, I was around people who were 10 to 13 years, if not more, older than me. So I had to deal with that kind of energy around me. So I, showed up and showed out when I had to. But that was it. I started singing because I wanted to show up my brother, who was a much better singer than I ever could be.
Wow.
I wanted to be an actor because my sister was an actress. So I was basically following my brother and sister around, trying to do what they do. And I wound up doing it as a profession.
Okay, so did they end up doing any of that themselves, or?
My brother sang for some time, but he didn't become a professional at it. But he sang a lot in church, and he was, in college and stuff like that. But it never turned out to be a profession for him.
Gotcha. So is it true that like your Living Color bandmate Vernon Reed, did he discover you singing "Happy Birthday" at something, or I read that?
Yeah. I was at this girl's birthday party, this girl I used to date. And it was her birthday, obviously. And she lived up on the Upper West Side on Central Park West. And Vernon had showed up with his sister. He had just gotten off the road with some other band. And the sister was complaining about how she never gets to hang out with him. And he said, all right, I got a Friday night free. Where are you going now? He says, well, I'm going uptown to go to my friend Pat's birthday party. Why don't you come along? So he showed up, and there's a group of people. It's like this young lady's parents' apartment, and the whole house is filled with people and everything. It's teeming with people, and they bring out a birthday cake, and she says, "Nobody sings but that guy." So she put me on the spot to sing "Happy Birthday." So I sang "Happy Birthday," and and I struck up a conversation afterwards with Vernon. It was like, that's a very interesting interpretation of the song because I don't know what the fuck I was doing. So I did what I wanted to. And it's like, yeah. And we had a conversation about music and all sorts of stuff. And a couple months later, he called me saying he needed a singer for his band. And when I come down to audition, it turns out he lived not too far from me. He lived like 6 blocks away from me in Crown Heights. He's from Crown Heights too.
Oh, okay.
And we struck up a friendship. We struck up a musical friendship. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Oh, okay. So obviously this became what the iconic band Living Color, like from this point. So
well, it was Living Color before. It was Living Color before I got there.
Oh, okay.
Living Color existed way before I got there. I think Living Color started like in 1984 or something like that.
Okay.
It's like it was like a side project for Vernon. And it had various different people in the band.
Okay.
Over the years.
But Vivid was the
And
first like that you were a part of.
yeah, I got there. I
Yes,
got there
yeah.
like 1986.
Yeah.
Like the beginning of 1986, and it was, it was fun. It was a different bass player and drummer at the time.
Yeah.
And it's how things sort of like.
Yeah. Well, was it a different? Yeah.
I got Platoon in the middle of just as I got in the band.
Oh, okay. So was it a different transition? Like had you sung rock music before, or had you done anything like that? Or
to me, it was singing.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something a lot more aggressive. I wanted to do something that had a lot more energy to it. My choices, and this is part of the conversation I was having with Vernon at the time, was like my choices as a singer was I could either be doing, background vocals for somebody else. I could strike out and try to be an R&B singer, which I am not. I'm not an R&B singer as much as I am a rock singer or a gospel singer or an R&B singer. I all that soul singer, all that stuff is sort of combined, so I don't fit in any one place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that was part of the conversation, and Vernon was, before this is just as Vernon was starting the Black Rock Coalition, talking about the whole idea that the segregation in music, that if you are a person of color, if you're Black in particular, they don't see you as a rock musician. They
Absolutely.
see you as something else. That if you're doing it, it has to be an alternative to, not a part of.
Yeah.
And that was part of the whole thing. And we tried to make music that was talked about that and really sort of shake up that idea.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Absolutely. And you guys did it. You guys did it swimmingly. So did you guys run into hang-ups during that time as far as being on the, as a Black band on the road with predominantly white world? Like how did that work?
We spent a great deal of time in a van driving across this country. And, you pull up into a truck stop and you look like this. Not just the skin, but the hair and just the way you looked as you walked into the place. It was like the that was the record scratch. Like, Absolutely. Who are these guys? Yeah. And we play this game, like, who's going to be Jackie Robinson today? Who's going to be the first to walk in? That was always, it was a joke to us at a certain point, because inevitably at some point someone's going to ask, so what do you guys do?
Yeah.
Why are you here? It's like,
Absolutely. We're a band. It's amazing how many people today still think that Living Color is a white band when they listen to Cult of Personality. I still see reaction videos and people are blown away. And
right. I think it's hilarious. You see the video, you'll know. If you listen closely enough, you'll get it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But that being said, we wanted people to know two things: that we play hard rock. We play something that's hard and aggressive. It has metal elements to it. It has R&B elements to it. It has funk elements to it. It has jazz elements to it. But it has all of that stuff, and it's still really good. And it's still rock and roll as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. That's hard, definitely. And
we preach that gospel for forever, still doing that. Because, and as much as things have changed, a lot of shit has still stayed the same.
Absolutely. Now, styles is key in like your maturation from the very beginning. Was that by design? Like all the color palette, the patterns, like from the beginning in the videos, and then even how you kept them throughout your career? Because you got a funky ass cool style. So
yeah, well, I come from wear what you do, and if it's out there and it's colorful, or if it's a certain pattern, it reflects what I do to a certain degree. I like that suit. I don't know what that suit is. But yeah, I have this thing about, you are in front. You are literally in front, and people need to see you. You're the target they have to focus on. And if you have something on that they can see, hopefully they'll listen as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Cult of Personality is one of the greatest tracks of all time, and
Right.
Fight Me on it. So also is one of the most thought-provoking ones. And you speak about what that song means to you and the band, and how you think that that's still pressing in like these crazy times we're in right now.
You know, little did we know how evergreen that song was going to be. You know, we wrote this song in the middle of, you know, it was the Reagan Bush sort of thing that was happening, and a very conservative sort of idea. And we watched as certain people had become bumper stickers. You know, we watched Reagan become a bumper sticker. We watched Malcolm X become a bumper sticker. We watched Che Guevara become a bumper sticker. And all of a sudden, these people who had a message became a icon and became a you know, it was, if you saw the glasses, you knew we were talking about Malcolm X. But what you didn't know what Malcolm X was about. If you see iconic pictures and don't understand the context of it, that's where we were coming from with this song. You know, that people have gone from saying something and then becoming an iconoclast, and then what they say didn't matter, but what they look like and what they represented did.
Yeah.
And that was what the song was about. Yeah. And you could extrapolate that to all kinds of stuff. For us, you know, the idea of what rock and roll was had become something else that wasn't, you know, what it was intended to be. It was supposed to be. It was intended to be a music for everybody. But where we were coming from is like it was a very limited thing if you looked or sounded a certain way.
True.
So that song sort of represented that kind of idea, and we had, and you know, in an ironic twist, that's what the song is now. It's like it's more about how iconic the song is than what the song was really trying to say. Because we get offered from politicians constantly to use their song in their campaigns and in their ads and all this other stuff that we kind of like, no. But it happens all the time.
Okay. So was that so in regards to what you just said there, when you were offered, I don't know, it's definitely over a decade or so, when you were offered by the WWE to license the music for pro wrestler CM Punk, was that a decision that was the group made easily? Because I mean, was it something that, because the song now has become a whole different thing to a new generation of
Absolutely.
not just wrestling fans, but just people that now just like bang it. I drive by, cars are driving by with 21-year-olds that are playing the song, and that's CM Punk right there. And so speak a little bit about that, please.
Well, the way, you know, Punk came from, or Phil, as I like to call him, came from, I think it was backyard wrestling he was doing originally.
Yeah, he was doing that. Yeah, and then some indie leagues like Ring of Honor and different things.
He was doing indie stuff, and he had used the song there. So when he went to WWE, they were like, "Oh, we'll get you a new song that sounds just like it." And he was like, "No. This is a song I want," and he fought for it. You know, he fought for the idea of using that song because, you know, the WWE and the McMahons have, everything's proprietary. Everything is in-house. And it wasn't for, like, I forgot who it was, but they used a Static X song.
Yeah.
And because they used that he used that same idea. Well, you letting so-and-so use the Static X song, I want to use this one. So that was great. And you know, in his sort of trajectory, he went from heel to hero just before he went out.
Absolutely. Pipe bomb. Yeah.
So that song sort of resonated in that way for him.
Absolutely. So how was it? Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. But the story he tells was when he was a kid and he was in Little League, that was his little league team's entrance music. His coach was
Oh,
progressive, and he used Cult Personality
that's
as his
awesome.
entrance music, and he thought that was really iconic. So that's why he still uses it to this day.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
I had no idea about that. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
how was it? How was it playing at WrestleMania for him? His entrance.
It was wild because they were doing a bunch of they were honoring a bunch of heroes, like Iron Sheik was there,
Mhm.
Bruno Sammartino was there. It was weird to see these folks
Oh yeah.
that I grew up with. The Rock was there, but you couldn't see him because he was in his own dressing room, and he didn't come out until it was till it was time. And it was two things was just really out there. It's like the music that was there that was being played, because P. Diddy was there,
Yeah.
and a few other bands were there, so that there was that element going on, and you're playing at what was still then was the Meadowlands. It's like
Yeah.
And
It's an
there's
iconic
a huge
moment,
crowd
yeah.
of people there.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
great. It was amazing. Absolutely.
I can
amazing.
imagine the energy. Just
Oh, it was
you could
great.
just feel it. You could just
Oh,
even
absolutely.
watching it at home. I was like, wow. You
Absolutely.
could just see that you guys were feeling it, performing. Punk when
Yeah.
Punk and Heyman when they came out,
Right.
they were feeling it. So I watched it again earlier today, and I had forgotten almost when I first saw it. I was up pumping my fist because again,
Right.
being I mean, again, it's an iconic song. It's one of my favorites. But again,
Right.
those energy type performances where the crowd was into it, you guys were into it. It was just one of those moments that made that show memorable for me. I don't remember a lot of other stuff, but you're right. The Hall of Famers, because I've done some stuff with pro wrestling. So when I'm at some of these events years ago, and I met people like Bruno Sammartino and King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow and a lot of them cats, and it's like it is surreal being a little kid watching them, and then they're standing in front of you.
And they're standing in front of you.
It's like it's crazy. So can't imagine performing and being in that realm right there. But
and even some of the newer dudes like Undertaker was there.
Oh yeah,
Ramon was there. A bunch of people were there, were like just hanging out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like wow.
Yeah, definitely. So we got a question from Lauren Lepre. He's a filmmaker and actor friend. Were the Bad Brains a big influence on the band?
Obviously, absolutely.
Absolutely.
When I was about 17 years old, I had a friend who sort of hit me to the other bands that I should know about, because I was always talking about wanting to be in a rock band, and I wanted to start my own rock band and blah 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 blah. And my friend Cyril Germain told me about Fishbone and Bad Brains, and I was like, oh damn, that's kind of hip. And the Bad Brains were doing a hardcore matinee at CBGB's one time, and I came out of Brooklyn into the city, and I went to go see the Bad Brains at CBGB's, and it turned my whole head around with music. Not just to see these four cats doing it, but the energy of the music that they were doing, and the crowd, how the crowd reacted to it, and how it was violent and communal all at the same time. It had a whole bunch of energy. It had a whole lot of positivity, and it had a whole lot of just chaos. And I loved it. And it's like that's what I want to do. How about that?
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I actually had a screening. I used to be a part of a film festival a few years back, and we screened the HR documentary, and he actually came out, and I got to talk to him for a bit, and he dropped a lot of knowledge on that panel about like the struggles he went through in the band and a lot. And you were part of that documentary that I know.
Yeah.
It's definitely a dope, iconic band too that doesn't get enough credit either. Just like you guys,
they don't get their due at all.
Absolutely.
And there's a bunch of bands like that. A band called Death out of Detroit doesn't get that kind of stuff. King's X, which is an amazing band, that I don't think gets as much due as it deserves. There's a bunch of them out there that need, I think, should be talked about and referenced to as far as things that have been going on in this industry that people of color have contributed to.
Absolutely. So as far as like music influences, who were some of yours growing up and like still to this day, like music that you listen to as going through your journey?
Well, like she mentioned, whoever mentioned the Bad Brains, I still rock that Raw tape.
Absolutely.
You know, I still to this day, that's one of the greatest records ever. You know, I still listen to some to like P Funk and Parliament Funkadelic still. You know, I listen to a lot of music. I don't limit myself, but every now and then things get stuck on repeat every now and then.
Absolutely.
You know, like there's a couple Sepultura records I listen. I every now and then I stumble across and go, oh shit, oh yeah,
oh yeah.
You know, at the same time, I listen to soundtracks like the Superstar soundtrack. I still listen to. It's all great. I listen to anything.
I feel you, and that's dope because it's amazing. We live in a time where there's a lot of reaction videos to old artists that had videos back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or whatever. And it's amazing to see that this new generation of people find Living Color, find a lot of these bands and people that they didn't, and even some of the icons that they're not familiar with, like Prince or Jimi Hendrix or whatever, but they're finding some of these groups or some of these hidden gems right now. And it's opening up their minds to music because they spent their whole life only listening to rap music or only listening to hip hop or R&B or like pop music of the time or whatever. So now they're kind of, the younger generation is opening up to a whole different style of music. And it's a beautiful thing to see to me because I like.
Absolutely.
So let's flip the script a little bit. Around 85, you were cast in the Academy Award-winning film Platoon. How did this all come about? Like, was this a difficult casting process? Because this is a stacked cast there. So what led you to this part in this film directed by Oliver Stone?
Yeah, well, I auditioned for it a couple of times, and it had been making the rounds for a number of years. Mm-hmm. Actually, for about 2 years. Different producers came along and different people came along, and they were casting for it, and they finally got the right producer and they got the right people for this to start production. And the production was going to start in the Philippines, and it was going to be a 3-month scenario. There's a cast of, there's 20 actors on set constantly, and I auditioned for it, and a few other my friends who were actors at the time were auditioning for it. And, I was a working actor at the time. Mm-hmm. So I auditioned for it. And a friend of mine had gotten the part I heard through the grapevine that this other friend of mine had gotten the part. So I wasn't thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I had a couple of callbacks, but, homeboy got it. Let's let him deal. He's got it. Good. I'll get the next one. And I was at home. I still live with my parents, and I got a phone call from my agent saying they're considering you for Platoon. I was like, well, I guess they changed their mind. I don't know what happened. So they called me at like 9:00 in the morning. Like at 10:30, they called me. It's like, okay, it looks like we're almost there. Just want to know if you got your shots, you have your passport, you got your stuff, just to be ready to go on Friday. I'm like, yeah, okay. Then they called me back and said, don't worry about the shots. You'll get the shots when you get there. You leave on Friday. We're just working out logistics and money and blah, 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 blah. And then the last phone call I got, I said, okay, they got the right thing, got the right billing, got the right money, everything is all set up. You leave tomorrow. So I got called on a Monday. Wow. And I was on a plane on Tuesday.
Wow.
So, right. So I had to pack up stakes. This is like 1986. I had to pull all my stuff together, pack for like what I thought was going to be a month. It turned out to be 3. And really sort of like, I had to pull up stakes. I had a job. I had to tell him I wasn't coming back for a while. I had to tell Vernon that I was, I'm going away for a minute and I'll be back. Don't forget about me. Girlfriends, parents, everybody had to let them know, like, I'm out, I'm gone. And I was gone for 3 months.
Wow. And you had to jump into like, not just any part, a deep part, because then you have to go through boot camp or like some kind of training to even begin.
The bulk of the cast had already been there. They were in the Philippines already. They already flown in.
Oh, okay.
They'd been there for a couple of days. I got there, and the first thing I did was they put me in a hotel for like a day, and then they drove me out to basic training. Because that was the next day was the first day of basic training. And they gave me a shovel, they gave me my gear, gave me my boots, it gave me my rifle, right? And gave me, it's like they said, okay, you're gonna live out here, and it's like there's no barracks or anything. No, you're gonna live out in the bush. So we had to dig our own holes.
Wow.
And the holes that I had to dig a hole with me and Charlie Sheen were hole mates. So I had to dig a hole with Charlie and then live in a hole for a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh wow. Now, while you're doing that, are you studying lines, or are you just trying to survive?
We haven't gotten the lines yet.
Wow.
This was sort of like this was like method character building at this point.
Oh, okay.
So we're learning how to strip down an M16. We're doing drills. We're doing ambushes. We're living in the bush. We're eating MREs. We're not. This is not no Hollywood shit we're doing. This is like they had to make us look real, like real life
legit
grunts in the middle of the jungle, literally training us in the jungle. And we had to go on night raids. We had to do all kinds of stuff. We had to do 40-click hikes. We did it all. We had shit on our backs. It was as realistic as they could possibly get us to be. And when we stopped the training, they started filming. And that's like that. What was that? There's a shot of us walking through the jungle. And everybody looks sort of haggard. Oh yeah. And you can hear Keith David humming in the background. And I'm cutting brush, and you could those looks on our faces are real. We're tired. Yeah. We are worn out.
We went through it.
Real. There was no acting in this motherfucker.
So and that alleviates ego too, because I mean, once you're all out there,
and there was no real sort of movie stars in it. The only real movie star to a degree was Tom Berenger, because he at that point he did The Big Chill. Willem Dafoe was just finished. To Live and Die in L.A. had just come out.
Oh, that's right. Streets of Fire. He was still on the come up. Yeah.
So he was on the come up. Charlie Sheen had done a few, had done Lucas, I think, at that point, but then had done nothing really big. Yeah. Johnny Depp was brand new.
Yeah. Kevin Dillon
was still, Matt Dillon's little brother.
Well,
what I mean?
John C. McGinley. Tony Todd.
McGinley was new. All of them were new.
Everybody
from Jersey, was new. Everybody was new. And everybody was looking at each other like, what are we doing here? It's like, how did we wind up? We were just actors a little while ago. Now we are, I'm, Private First Class Francis Harrison. How did I get here?
So share with us some stories. There has to be some funny stories, some memorable shit that happened out there and that on the shoot. Like obviously spending that time with Charlie in the hole, there had to be some hijinks, but how was this whole crew together? Like obviously working for a crazy person
there weren't like prank, but when we got, the minute they put us in a hotel and they put us in someplace that's close to civilization, we broke wild. Believe me, we were we were staying at some resort in the middle of the Philippines, and we would tear the lounge and the pool up. We'd have we started a band. There was a lounge band in this resort, and we was there was a bunch of folks that were musicians. Johnny is a really dope guitar player. Richie Edson was a really good drummer. Was it the other Glover was a bass player? Like we had a band, and we'd sing, we'd do all these covers and all day for like after shooting for 12 hours. You come to the lounge and basically drink and play music.
Wow.
This is way before the internet, so there was not much else you could do. Not much else you could get but you could get into. Still, you got into trouble. We were throwing things in the pool, and it was some rock and roll shit for real.
So did you at some point know that you were making something iconic, like along the way, because of all the grind to get to that point of shooting?
We joked about it, and we knew that the work that we were doing was good. Oliver had a penchant for not letting the actors know just how good they were doing, so they could work harder. He just directors' games. Would be played. So we knew we were doing something good, and we joked, I'll see you at the Oscars. But we had no idea that how good it really was. And once we saw the finished product, and we're like, wow, this is really good. The performances that were there's I don't think everybody shined in those roles. Berenger was amazing. Sheen, as an innocent, appearing as an innocent and slowly turning into, a hardened soldier was evident, was amazing.
Absolutely.
And because we basically shot the whole thing in sequence. We shot it from page 1 to page 74. We shot it as it was.
Wow.
And we made sure that everything was as authentic as we possibly could. Like we had this we had the guy who was training us was this Marine. His name was Dale Dye, and he had Gunnery Sergeant. I can't think of the Gunny's real name. Because we always just called him Gunny. And we had 3 corporals who trained us. These were like hard as nails Marine Corps Marines, like on leave, kind of like they were in the reserves kind of Marines. Like they were very gung ho, very much, very much about that life. And they made sure everything we did was authentic. Like if your gun jams, you know exactly why it jammed and how it jammed, and if you didn't fix it immediately, because there are takes when you're supposed to be firing off something and the gun jams. So okay, the gun jams, pull back, cock it back, check this chamber, and then keep going. Like that was like in the Hollywood movies. Like the gun always works. The gun doesn't always work. The claymores don't always go off. So you have to be mindful of all that stuff. And did one scene. We're in this thing and we get ambushed, and there's these bombs going off. But the munitions guy didn't know. Sometimes they would go off immediately, and sometimes they wouldn't. And we're doing a scene, and these bombs are going off, and I'm anticipating these bombs going off. Like I got shell shocked behind it. Like I couldn't speak for like a full day because my head was ringing, and just the jumping from the concussion of the blast was like did my head in.
Oh man.
So it was trying to be it was authentic as authentic as it was. It showed up on screen.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why it won the awards it won.
Absolutely. So moving forward, tell us a little bit about Jesus Christ Superstar. You were cast in the role of Judas. Like, how did that come about? Like in the middle of all your music journey. Like,
well, yeah, I'm still doing a Living Color thing.
Yeah,
for the most part, and a year before that, I did this play off Broadway down on Bleecker Street in the city called Fallen Angel. And the casting people who did that were casting for Jesus Christ Superstar, like a bus and truck, like a touring thing of Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely, the guy from the movie.
Yeah.
And someone suggested me, and I was like, this is a role of lifetime. This is the role I wanted to play my whole life, for real. Like, I wanted to do this. This is what I wanted to do. And I went through a couple auditions, and I met with Ted, and I did a scene with Ted. And he did something. We were doing a scene, and there was a song that was going on, and he sort of held me and looked at me, and I was like, "What the fuck is you doing?" And I got so frustrated. I didn't even stop the scene. I just walked out of the room, and then they gave me parking. Like, yeah, that's the kind of energy you got to have. Some anger about you, and some frustration based on what you were doing. And I spent 2 years doing that, and it was
very fulfilling,
extremely. I can't. I made a lot of friends. Had some really, really, really good shows. We had a good time. It was a really, really good time. I must say, it made me want to do it full time. It made me want to. Yeah, like it made me want to go. Maybe I should pursue this Broadway thing. And I was like, but then the band started working up again, so didn't get a chance to. But I'd still love to do some Broadway stuff.
Okay. So was that an easier transition to being a rock star? Was that an easy transition, being on stage and the crowds and all that? Ooh.
Is he saying
Can you hear me, Joe? Can you hear me, Joe?
Hold on a second. Let me bring him back down. Corey, can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Corey? Can you hear us?
Oh,
how would he have lost his?
Bet you he is using an Apple product. Are you using an Apple product? An iPad or a?
This 1 second. Is there something he can click at the top and click back on? Or
the easiest thing would probably do is have him back out all the way and come back in.
Okay.
It may be a glitch in the system.
Okay.
It tends to happen sometimes with Apple products, unfortunately.
Okay. Can you? All right. All right. Live in living color.
That's it. It's live. And unfortunately, sometimes these things happen.
Awesome. Can you hear us now, Corey? Oh, okay. That's right. Okay, cool.
But we are going to have somebody come up with a question for Corey, which is kind of exciting. And Brandon, this is what you wanted IOU to begin with. So would you explain a little bit about that, what your intentions were?
Absolutely. Like I said from the beginning, I want this to be interactive. That's what kind of what made me like basically fall in love with the initial show that Mr. Ridgely produced. And I want this to be that the people that are out there, whether musicians, actors, filmmakers, film professionals can come up and ask questions of professionals like Corey. So can you hear us now, my friend?
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah, Mr. Ridgely, yes. Can you? We have a couple questions for you from our audience, if you don't mind answering, Mr. Glover.
No, no.
Absolutely.
I thought he was going to get the deer in headlights. It's going to be safe. Don't worry.
Awesome.
So last Saturday, I actually interviewed the cast and crew of an upcoming movie called Campfire, and they played a clip of part of the soundtrack, and I got to speaking with these guys, and I'm going to bring up Jordan. He's got a question for Corey. Jordan, first of all, what's the name of the band?
Yeah, it's Aonic Impulse.
All right.
We're based out of Los Angeles.
Oh, you can't hear him now.
I think you can hear me.
Okay. So he's with the band. Can you hear me, Corey? All right, you know what? I'm going to bring Fernando up also because they're both going to have questions. We're not going to do the bounce back and forth because I'm sure Corey's going to kill us then. But I'm assuming you guys know each other.
Fernando, what are you driving and doing this stuff? That's dangerous, man.
I'm not driving. I have my personal driver doing that right now.
I'm sure she loves that.
All right, I'm going to bring Corey back up. Corey, can you hear everybody now, sir?
I can't hear everybody right now.
All right.
Awesome.
So Jordan, again, please, the name of the band?
The name of the band is Aonic Impulse,
Mm.
and we're based out of Los Angeles. I got my drummer Fernando over there as well.
All right.
So what type of music, guys? What type of music?
Progressive rock, progressive metal.
Awesome. So you have a question for Corey? Please ask away.
I'm put on the spot on a question. I thought I was
We're supposed to be prepared. Okay, Fernando, do you have a question for Corey? All right, you guys are failing.
Really, guys?
Yeah.
Really?
I have
There's
something very vague, but I mean, I'm not sure want to be creative or any question will do, but I'm just gonna go for it. Best advice for up and coming musicians in this day and age? You know, very simple question.
Good question.
Don't stop. You know,
Yep.
don't ever stop. If that's what you want to do it. When I was a kid, you know, I decided I wanted to be an actor and a musician. My father sat me down and said, you know, son, these professions are very tenuous and you need to have something to fall back on. And it turns out I didn't. And I tried that and it didn't work because it split my focus on what I wanted to do. So what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it had to be my focus. And if I needed to make a living at it, find ways to make a living at doing what you do. You know, you may not be, you know, in a band, but you could be a session guy. You could be playing background. You could be doing jingles. You could be doing whatever it is that you need to do, but to keep doing what you're doing within the context of what you're looking to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
That's great advice. That's great advice because I mean, Corey and the band have done a lot of great soundtrack work too, which has helped a lot of friends of mine that are also have bands just getting their stuff in movies, whether independent or sometimes bigger films that they can help set them off a bit and supplement income for the artists. So that's something else for you guys to think about there. So
Absolutely, Jordan. Last opportunity, man. Get the wheels turning.
All right, I thought of one while he was talking. Corey.
Yeah,
you've been an actor, you know, singer, obviously, movie soundtracks. What's left to do, man? What is something that you would like to accomplish?
Well, like I was saying to Jordan earlier, you know, I'm sorry, to Brandon earlier, I wanted to do, like, I still like to do some Broadway stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever creative itch, I'm still want to do some acting. I want to do some producing and I want to do some writing as well, which I've been trying to dabble at in some way, shape, or form. Brandon and I talked at the con, and I told him I had some ideas that he and I could talk about. And I'm putting him on the spot right now to say,
absolutely, brother. I got something I'm gonna send you this week. So yeah, we'll talk.
I got a horror film idea for you as well, B. So
my man. You know, yeah, he just right up my alley too. But that's what's up. So yeah, I mean, again, he gave you guys some great advice. I'd love to listen to some of your music too. Like, send anything to me. You can send it to Joe, and he can get it to me. And like you said, just keep going. That's I'm living proof that the grind gets you. I mean, again, I still have a lot of hills to climb, but again, I've been in this 23 years, and I'm just still going. So you just got to keep doing it and keep believing that you can do it, and then you can end up, like I said, look at this man here. He's an icon. So, but it's about hustle and belief. So,
right, and you know, I'm gonna say this again over and over again. Just because you didn't reach, you know, where everybody knows you status doesn't mean that you failed. You know what I mean? Superstardom is not the goal. It's doing it proficiently and doing it to the best of your abilities. And if you could get out the gate and you can work and you can do what you do for yourself, then you've won beforehand, or you've already won. You know,
you can get any better advice than that, guys.
All right, so everybody check out Aonic Impulse. And to me, I listened to their first album. It was Pink Floyd-esque, and it told the story, and it was really cool. They're going to be on the soundtrack for Campfire coming up. Thanks again for joining us, guys. We greatly appreciate you, and
thank you,
hope
guys.
to see you soon.
Thanks, I just one quick thing before I go.
Yeah.
Corey, I got the opportunity to meet you at a Living Colors show in Hermosa Beach. I used to work
Oh.
at a place called St. Rock,
Okay.
and getting to work for you guys was amazing. So thank you for that opportunity, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Have a good
Thank you,
evening.
George,
Thank
for
you.
that, though. Thank you, guys. All right. So Corey, who is Reverend Daddy Love? Tell us a little bit about
That's
this.
that is an alter ego. When my mother told me about her father, my grandfather. He was the Right Reverend Carter Sneed. And he was basically a jackleg preacher, which meant he basically rode the rails like a hobo, got into a town, put his hat down, started playing the guitar and preaching the word, and collect change that way. That's how he made a living. You know what I mean? How he made his money. It's like, that sounds like my job. And you know, so I had this concept of to honor my grandfather, of this person who's called the Reverend Daddy Love, who's a preacher, and he preaches the word of how transformative music is, and how, you know, he's a trickster, he's a prophet, he's a poet, he's a bon vivant, he's a Lothario, he's all those things that you know about preachers. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that was my idea about the Reverend. And also, you know, there are times when I perform that, you know, I hope everybody's been watching Moon Knight and that whole thing about DID, and you know, Reverend Daddy Love is my other personality, and sometimes he takes over while I'm performing, and it's a completely different person than me. And he has, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens, but I've named him at this point.
Okay, that's dope. So you mentioned it a little bit earlier that some of this was by design. So Disciples of Verity, some of the other groups that you've performed with, was that by design so you could like bring out other facets of yourself, whether funk or heavy metal, and
right,
there are the different sounds, and it gives you a different feel when you're on stage. So
absolutely,
that was by design, correctly?
Yeah, well, it scratches those itches, you know.
Yeah,
I got a chance to work with Galactic out of New Orleans and do the funk thing, you know, and the jam band thing. I did something with George Lynch and Pancho Tomaselli and Chris Moore, and that sort of gave me the prog thing that I wanted to do, you know, and then doing Disciples of Verity with George and Corey Pierce from God Forbid, and shout out to them. It gave my, you know, like that metal, sort of alternative metal sort of idea that I think about all the time. All these things, the ultraphonic stuff, the Disciples of Verity, and the Galactic stuff are all ideas that I have in my head about what I can do and what I want to do. And fortunately for me, I get the opportunity to do it.
That's awesome. All right. Yeah. So every week we play this thing called One Sentence or Silence. I ask you about somebody and they give you a name of somebody you work with, and then you give me a line or two about them. And if you stay silent, that means you don't like them or they suck or whatever. So, all right. So let me start off with Axl Rose. All right. Flavor Flav.
My
man. Alter Bridge.
Those are some bad boys.
All right. Tony Todd.
There's another one. He's intense. That's super Mr. Intensity.
Awesome. Richie Sambora.
Good guy. Really good guy. Good Jersey dude. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Jersey represent. All right, The Roots.
That's my mans. I love them. Philly represent.
Philly represent, no doubt. All right, Steven Tyler.
Nutbag. He's out of his mind, but he's a good guy. He's a real.
All right, Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, I did a commercial with Giancarlo when I was about 14 or 15. He was like 17 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we did this PSA for Keep New York Clean.
Okay.
And he went on to become a superstar.
All right.
And I'm like, hey, I'm in a band. Remember me? So every now and then, if I see him sometimes, like, hey, how you doing? You don't remember me, do you? But yeah, how you doing?
Mick Jagger.
Angel. He recognized it. This story, like the whole story about he produced some demos for us because he had heard about the band and he auditioned Vernon for his Primitive Cool tour, in which Doug Wimbish was in the band, and Doug talked us up. So he's sort of like he was like the linchpin to a lot of stuff. So I was having a conversation with him in the studio when we were talking about the blues, and I had just been immersing myself in the blues, and I just got the Super Blues CD, and I got all this music. Little boy, Sonny Boy Williamson, all this music I was talking about to Jagger, and the next day, Jagger gave me this cassette with rare 33s and 78s on it.
Wow.
And it was like, here, listen to this. He gave me he put me onto some shit that I had never heard and have never heard since.
Wow.
That he had just lying around.
Wow. That's dope. That's dope. All right. Speaking of funk and soul, George Clinton.
Oh, that's the man. Yes. George.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's what's up. All right. Corey Taylor.
I like Corey. Corey's a funny dude. Corey's a real funny dude. And every now and then I see him, like I would see him, we did Shiprocked or something like that together. And I'd see him and you have no idea how intense he is because he's so goofy, and then he gets on stage and he's and like, holy shit, that's not the same dude. You know what I mean?
Speaking of intense, Billy Idol. Oh, Rebel Yell.
Wow. We did a couple of shows with Billy, and he is like, I remember one time I got a Generation X cassette.
Right.
I was in England once, and this is before Billy Idol became Billy Idol. And I got a Generation X cassette, not even CD, a cassette. And it was like some live show that they had done in London. I was like, that dude's bad. And then all of a sudden I hear about Billy Idol, and I meet Billy. It's like, wow, you're a lot taller than I thought you were.
Oh man, amazing! And finally, I mean, I know it was back in the day, but Johnny Depp.
Depp, good guy, really good guy, like really sweet guy, and I know he's in the news right now, but I tell you, Johnny has always had really sort of sucky luck with women, and what people might not know is that he's been done dirty by a bunch of girls that he's dated and or married. So I'm Team Johnny on this one.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to ask about one because I saw the picture. Slash
a good guy. Slash a really good guy. And he gets it, He gets it. He gets exactly what we're doing. He gets exactly what he's doing. He's a lot more aware of his surroundings than you think he is. He's thinking and always listening. That's awesome.
All right, man. You got through it. Like we got one, but you got through it with unscathed there. So this is a question our audience always likes, just because it just digs deep into. This is more about film. Like, what are some of your favorite films that are go-tos for you?
You know, I got kids. I got two teenage sons. So we haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. We're seeing it on Monday, so I have to be on, radio silence until Monday because I can't watch any spoilers. I can't get any of that stuff. I'm a comic book fan. Like I collect comics personally.
Oh, okay.
So I'm watching this stuff and trying to connect the dots between it and the books and who wrote what and that kind of stuff. So I'm in it with that. I also like, thrillers as opposed to horror.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I grew up loving like the Hitchcock and more of the thriller side. Yeah, I do love horror, but thrillers and stuff with genuine suspense is what I really dig.
Because it's what you don't see that makes it so terrifying.
Absolutely.
It's not the 8-foot monster. It's the 8-foot monster in your mind that you really that shadow looks like rather than what it really is. It's much more interesting to me.
Absolutely.
That being said, I love comedies. I love, real sort of character study dramas.
Mm-hmm.
Not for nothing. Taxi Driver is still. That's amazing. I just hit my kids. My kids and I watched the Godfather series, and they had never seen any of that stuff. And one of my kids is going to film school. And he's like, "Wow, these shots are just incredible." It's like, "Whoa, how do they do that?" And this is like I love that. I love the art of filmmaking, like what pictures look like, and how there's a scene with the horse head, but before you get to the horse head, the silk sheets sort of like billow and like it looks like waves like it looks like the ocean for a certain second, and then it becomes horrifying. But it was beautiful before it becomes horrifying.
Yeah, there's a beauty to cinema that's sometimes lost these days. And back in, like you said, films like that, they accentuated moments like that to make them scarier in movies like Psycho and Taxi Driver and like Deer Hunter. A lot of those movies, like there's just a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's just master classes of cinema.
Body Double. Just the what you see is not what you see, and that kind of stuff. And
absolutely. All right, so we got a question from my buddy Tim. Any interest in directing, Corey?
Eventually, if I have to, I want to get my, writing on first, so I can, I can get the images out of my body onto a page, and then I'd want to direct.
I feel you. Oh, so staying in that same realm, if you could act in any film, any budget. Obviously you've been in one of the biggest films of all time, but from here on out, if you could act in any film, any budget, what would it be and what type of film?
I want to do, I love comedy. I think I love, things that are a little more thought-provoking where you can watch somebody think.
Okay.
But at the same time, if Marvel comes to me and says, "Look, I want
I thought that's what you were gonna say, like Marvel superhero.
I'm saying if they call me for something, anything, just to say, "Hey, hi, remember me?" and then I can walk off the stage, I'll do that in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. So also on that same note, you obviously have performed with a lot of the most amazing artists of all time, along with you guys being in that same category. Is there anybody still that you would love to play with? Like if you could pick someone that's out there that you haven't performed with, who would that be?
It's funny because I've already some of the people I've worked with, I think are iconic in their own right. Like I think Seven Dust is amazing, and I'd love to collab with them on something, on anything. We did some stuff with Alter Bridge, and I think Miles is amazing. Miles told me the story when we were on the road with him. It's like I did a gig with this band that was horrible, and we opened for your solo act, and you said something to me that I'll never forget. It's like, Don't worry about them. What you're doing is amazing. Keep doing it. And now he's Miles Kennedy. And, you know, it's like, wow, that's nice. That's really nice.
That is dope. That's what's up. So on another note, like I mentioned earlier, we met on the horror film circuit. How's that been for you? I mean, do you get a lot of fans more for music, or is it a mixture of?
It's
a
mixture. It's a mixture. It depends on. It really depends. Like earlier in the day when you're at these cons, the movie fans come out.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, then the music people come. And then there's a few people who are like, I remember that video when I didn't know that you were in this movie, but I remember you in the wetsuit and blah 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 blah. Can I take a picture? You know,
the wetsuit. That's what's up. That's what's up. So what's upcoming for you? What's obviously you're still with Living Color. You guys are performing. Can you tell us a little bit about upcoming tours and any other projects with any other musicians or film? Anything else going on for you?
We're doing the WMMR picnic in Camden, New Jersey on the 21st of May. We're going to be in Virginia before that at the what's the thing, Luau? I can't think of the name of it. But there's a bunch of other bands on that one. Bad Wolves and Disturbed and a few other bands are going to do that. I was in LA like a week ago, and I did some stuff with Doc from Bad Wolves and God Forbid, and they're back. He's back in Jersey now, practicing for this upcoming God Forbid thing that they're about to do, which I can't wait to see.
That's what's up.
And I'd love to work with Doc on some stuff as well. And that's about it. That's what I know right now.
Okay.
We're doing.
Cool.
That's in my immediate future. I'm doing a solo show on the 19th in the city at the Bitter End at like 10 p.m. 9 p.m. So come down and check that out. So
awesome.
Just working,
man, working. Absolutely. Awesome. All right, a friend to the show, Sean Smithson, has a question. I've tried not to fanboy out, but I have to say your music was a huge part of my life.
That's not a question.
It's not a question, yeah. After I read it, I realized, but hey, it is a great compliment because again.
But thank you so much.
Tim Milliken, love, God Forbid. There we go. Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I wasn't hip to God Forbid until after the fact, until after they broke up, really.
Oh. So. All right, so I always end the show with, I think I mentioned to you in the green room, words of advice. Some guests give uplifting words of advice, some give on the other side of it, the pitfalls. So you can give whatever advice you want. But like I said, there's a lot of aspiring filmmakers, actors, musicians out there that are watching. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Like I said, do what you do, and if you get a chance to do it, know that you won. You know, you won. I want to be a screenwriter. If you're writing and you get something, anything, you get to be an assistant in a writer's room. You get to, collaborate with somebody or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. You won. You're in the industry. You've done what you said you were going to do. And don't, like I said earlier to was it Jordan? Don't give up. Don't stop. Don't ever stop doing what you're doing. If you feel like you need to stop, then you really didn't want to do it.
It's true. It's great advice. I always tell people, like, it's you're if it's something that burns in your soul, you got to get up every day and you feel it and you're on that hustle, then it's for you. And like you mentioned, I think to Jordan or Fernando or both of them, it's not about the ultimate. Some people think it's about riches and red carpets and mansions and all that. It's about, for me at least, and how it should be, is about the fulfillment, and for me being able to do what I love to do on a different level, to where, again, you don't have to struggle as much, but the fulfillment is in the fact that I'm still doing it. and that I get up tomorrow and still be doing it and directing next week and the week after and producing and just doing what I love to do, acting as well, that I've been doing the last 23 years. So I think the misconception out there for some people is that, oh, if I didn't get to this status of TMZ or whoever followed me around, that you didn't succeed. But that's not the case. It's not the case at all. So
not the case at all. If it there are more people, that's why it's an industry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a few, and the people who are forward facing, where TMZ is following them around, or they're in the paper or whatever. That's just a small bit of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the larger, there's something really much bigger going on behind them that is much more fulfilling and much more lucrative in terms of what it does to you inside.
Absolutely. And some of those people, not all, but some of those people aren't fulfilled at all. And that's the reason why TMZ is following them around, because there's controversy or something. So, yeah, that's great advice, audience.
Do you really want TMZ following you around?
Some people do. Some people do. I've talked to people. I've had people audition for me, and they just want to be stars. And then those are the people who don't keep coming back, because they realize how hard it is to be an actor, to be a comedian, to be a musician, and they just want the easy route to put me in something. I'm good looking or I'm funny, and they don't realize the grind that people have to go through. There's a million talented people out there that never got a break, and it's not because they didn't try. It's just, to me, not everybody gets a break and becomes Johnny Depp or becomes Living Color or becomes Jimmy, like anybody that has reached iconic status. And that's just, but there are a lot of people who make a great living, like behind the scenes, like you said, writers on shows, writers for movies, actors that are on television show. We don't know their names, all of them, but they make a great living and they provide for their family, and they're fulfilled, and they get up every day and they do what they love to do, and that's success. That's success.
There's a key grip somewhere out there that works 5-6 days a week and is doing just fine.
Absolutely. And a lot of them are doing just a lot better than a lot of actors I know. The gaffers, the grips, like hair and makeup people, they're doing, especially if they're in unions or IATSEs, they're doing a lot better than a lot of the struggling actors that I know that are out there. So CJ Robles, great show, gentlemen. Thank you, brother. Sean Smithen, thank you, Brandon, for such an awesome podcast. Appreciate you. Mr. Ridge, do you have any questions for our amazing guest before we let him go?
I do. And it's something you've been asked 1,000 times. Now, mind you, I grew up, I was born on Long Island, but moved down to Florida.
Father.
I was moved down to Florida when I was 8 years old in 1984. And then we see Corey Glover in a wetsuit in a video, body glove.
Yes.
So I got to ask, I mean, we were surfing down here on body glove stuff. What was the affiliation with body glove? How did that come about?
I bought it at a consignment store.
Really?
Seriously. I bought it at Patricia Fields downtown, and it said glove.
That's amazing. That's the perfect way to sign off of this show, man. That's perfect.
I had to ask, and Brandon, I told you I was going to ask this, or I wanted to try to ask it.
I was hoping you did, because I wanted to hear the answer, and it was worth the wait. Absolutely. Simple as that.
All right. Well, we're at the end of our program. Corey, can you please tell the audience where they can find you, either on social media or your schedule or website?
I'm on all the social medias. I'm on, except TikTok. I can't dance. This Instagram is under my name. I'm on Twitter under Reverend Daddy Love. I'm Rev Daddy Love, I believe it is. I have a Facebook page if you're that old.
That hurt.
And yeah, like I said, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's best place to find me.
Where's the best place to find your upcoming appearances?
if you look at for Living Color, go to Living Color Instagram page and Living Color Facebook page. You'll find dates. I don't know if livingcolor.com is still up. We're in the midst of revamping the website, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. But it might still be up, and it might still have some dates on it. But your best bet is probably Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome. Well, again, Corey, you are absolutely an outlaw in music. You and Living Color helped change the landscape of rock music, and we're all better for it. Thank you so much for taking some time tonight on the Indie Escape Network and blessing us with your knowledge and your wisdom. Please continue to do what you do, and let's talk this week about some of those ideas you have, so we can get to collaborating and let's do what we do.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much, everybody. The iconic, the great Corey Glover. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Joe, y'all are great. Thank you. This is a lot of fun. This was so much fun. I'll do it again whenever you ask me.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Have a great weekend.
You too.
See ya. Thank you. Man. I'm so friggin' pumped.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, one of the best brothers that just not even the fact that he's a brother, but just one of the best cats that you'll ever meet, man. Just so down to earth. I mean, I've run in this business, I run into a lot of ego over the 20 plus years I've been doing this stuff, and there's absolutely none on that dude. And he's performed with some of the icons of music that you heard about, from Jagger to Billy Idol to Aerosmith. I mean, this guy has done what a lot of musicians would kill to do, and he's in one of the greatest films of all time. So, and to be that down to earth and be that cool is just, I mean, that's just amazing. So yeah, it was a blessing to have him on the show tonight. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the time went by quick, and I know we're a little bit over where we were, but hey, I mean, again,
I'm trying to get over this high, man.
I'm telling you, man, like again, it is amazing when you talk to people, like really genuinely good people, and they give that advice, like he gave Fernando and Jordan. I mean, that's it. I mean, and Mark Webber said it last week, just believe in yourself and believe what you can do, and you can move mountains. So a lot of people in their head just don't think they can do it because of where they come from, or even just because it's difficult to do. And it's not. It's just one of them things that you have to just fight for. And like success, like we spoke on the show, success is not mansions and 10 cars and all that stuff that, yeah, a lot of celebrities have, but success is really just the fulfillment and being able to do what you love to do. And I'm growing to love to do this every week and to talk to cats like Corey and Mark Webber.
Well, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Brandon and Corey are working on a freaking movie.
Hey, that's to be determined. Like, yeah, but I mean, I'll do anything with that guy. It's just like he said about the pro wrestlers, the iconic wrestlers that he got to meet, that I've been privileged to meet. To me, somebody like when I met Corey a couple months, that was one of those memorable moments where, again, I grew up banging Cult of Personality and all of their music as a kid, and to shake that man's hand and for him to talk to me like on a level as professionals, that for me was a surreal moment. So again, anything I can do to work with him is going to be a privilege. So yeah, we'll keep you up to date. So 'cause I'm looking forward to that cipher with him. But yeah, so what's is anything coming up new with? I mean, I know we have some to be continues. I'm not going to say what next week's guest is going to be because I'm still confirming it, but I think everybody's going to be happy with what the results are. I know upcoming there's some other amazing guests that have agreed to come on as well. So, and again, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't, to the Indie Escape Network channels, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Yes, I've been even going on TikTok, and I haven't posted anything yet because I haven't got that far in that whole maturation of that process.
Imagine how many pieces we can cut of this interview and put on TikTok.
I mean, we have to do that because, again, there's legions of fans for not just Living Color, but Disciples of Verity and Galactic and and it just, again, he's an icon. So I mean, it's something that, and just that wisdom should just be put out there so people that aren't here live can see it, because that's a lot of great advice that not just him but a lot of our guests have given to aspiring artists out there to keep going and just believe in yourself. No, I'm not gonna dance on TikTok, Sean. No. At some point, I might do like some live videos. I've been seeing CJ post things about upcoming shows and everything like that. But that I'll probably do at some point soon, and then I'm gonna try to cut up pieces of films of mine and different things and post them on there. It's just with so many different social media platforms and only a certain amount of time of the day, like I have to just find that window to dedicate just to TikTok when I find it. I've already found it for Facebook and Instagram and even LinkedIn at some point. So it's just a matter of finding the time because that's a little more dedicated. You have to do a lot more to kind of work on TikTok than you do for the other things. So
no doubt about that.
All right. So we will, we definitely, like I said, we will keep you posted on all the upcoming things for the Indiescape Network. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, spending a little bit of your Friday night with us with this amazing guest. Thank you again to Corey Glover. Check out Living Colors fan pages on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, because they're going to be like doing a lot of great shows. I know there's one coming up at the end of this month with Disturbed that I'm going to go to. So yeah, it's and again, like it is mind blowing that we just had that great conversation with a rock icon. So again, I'm just going to sign off with my quote. There's the man right there that we appreciate. Believe in the power of yourself and the right others. Peace, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Good night.